Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining our webinar today. We have Ryan with ClientTether with us, and the topic for the call is lead re-engagement and nurturing strategies. Today's webinar is available for CFE credits. If you're attending today's webinar for CFE credit, we want to welcome you this afternoon. If you're currently not an IFPG member, we'd also like to invite you for a free tour of our site and all of the features we offer. We routinely offer our members ongoing educational sessions. You can contact our membership director, Hira, for more information at hirra@ifpg.org. All lines will be muted during this call. Please enter all questions and comments into the questions box and we will address them after the presentation. If you need anything during the presentation, you can send me a direct chat. And with that, I'm going to pass it over to Ryan.
Thank you, Jaylene. Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining this webinar. I am Ryan. I'm with Franchise Sales CRM. We're partnered with the IFPG. We're going to just dive right in here. We've been partnered with the IFPG for a little over 2 years as the Franchise Sales CRM, and we're really designed to help consultants and brands grow, fuel their success through sales automation, robust dashboard reporting, and of course, providing dedicated support with myself and our team. So I just want to introduce myself and what we do. One of the major, I guess, things we talk about when it comes to lead engagement, of course, this is a webinar about re-engaging past leads, but it's also important to talk about that initial impression with a lead. And I like to use what I call the restaurant analogy. So for example, if you're going out to eat at your favorite restaurant and you know there's a 60-minute wait, there's a big long line, it can be frustrating, especially if you're hungry, you've got a big group and everybody's got to sit there and wait until the table opens up. But you can imagine if you go to a restaurant, it's busy, but they tell you, look, you know what, we've got a table open right now, we're going to get you in, let's bring everybody over and get you set up and get you some food. So it's understanding that that delay or that time is important. So one of the big things about our system is speed to lead. When a lead comes into the system, it's engaging leads first before anybody else. It's automatically going to increase your chances of building a positive relationship right off the bat. And that positive first initial impression can literally make or break a deal. It's that first few seconds you speak to them, you text them, you email them, you have a conversation. That sets the stage for the process after that, the relationship after that, and what direction it may or may not go in. So that is why we really emphasize the importance of speed to lead, responding to leads immediately. And this doesn't just go for consultants, this goes for any business out there. Being responsive is extremely important. I also want to cover the idea of nurturing and building relationships and trust with your candidates. We live in what I've been told is a post-trust world, which is weird to think about, but more and more people are cautious about who they're working with, who they're interacting with, who they're investing their time and their money in. They're not really entirely trusting anymore. And it's kind of a strange idea, but it's what's going on out there. People are a lot more wary of who they're talking to and the businesses they're interacting with. So it's no longer a world where there's hard selling, where we just have to call and hard sell people. We really have to build a relationship. We really have to get people to trust us. We have to get people to invest their time working with us and believe that what we can do is going to help them. But the question is, how do you build that trust? How do you water that plant so that plant can grow into something huge and powerful, right? So it's all about really nurturing through automation, through messaging, and through content. And I talk to consultants all the time, and I tell them, you know, it's completely free to go out there and create a video, start a podcast, get on a podcast, create content. What that does is once you get the content out there, it's building trust. It's making you look like an expert in your field, and it's helping people connect with you more. Because in a post-trust world, people are out there researching, they're watching videos, they're looking at reviews, they're looking at LinkedIn pages, they're looking at everything to evaluate whether or not they want to invest their time and energy and money into that consultant, that business, or that coach, right? So they really want to see what you have going on out there. And if we look at the stats, 79% of marketing efforts never convert to sales due to weak or non-existent nurturing. So if you're not nurturing, you're not building that relationship, and I don't mean hard selling, I don't mean calling every day, hey, can we talk? Hey, can we talk? I mean nurturing a relationship, providing content, providing education, providing information, acting as a resource, and being helpful. That is what helps water that plant so that plant can grow, that relationship can grow, and positive things can come from it. So the question is, how do we do that? Well, with Franchise Sales CRM, we are a tool designed to create engagement through nurturing. So how do we do that? We text. We can text people. And of course, it's not something you want to do every day. You don't want to bother people at 5 in the morning with a text message. Nobody wants that. But it's about doing it frequently enough so you're keeping in touch, you're keeping them engaged, but you're providing value adding content and educational content. So we can do that through an automated text message, an automated email, and we can even automate a phone call. If this person tells you, look, now's not good, but call me tomorrow at 2 o'clock, we can set it up so your phone actually rings at 2 o'clock and calls that lead or that candidate when they asked you to. And that speaks volumes because they know you're listening, they know you care about their time, and you're also doing what you said you're going to do. So, creating content, there's so much to do. There's so many questions candidates ask, what do they need from you? What questions do they have? What can you answer for them? What content can you provide them to move the process along? So it's kind of in a way grooming them to be ideal candidates. Sending them content like past client testimonials you worked with, or maybe podcasts you've done, success stories you've had within yourself or other people you've worked with, sharing brand opportunities and the stories behind those brands using video, and just curating good content. For example, I have my own podcast I've been running for about 3 years now, and it's going extremely well. I actually get leads for my clients through my podcast, which has been pretty exciting. And I just share it with people I work with, or people that decide not to work with me. It doesn't matter. It's a resource for them. It's education for them. It's insights. So constantly doing things, putting out content, value adding content like your own podcast or your videos is a great way to get people to engage with you and learn about what you're doing and your expertise. And even if that person watching or listening doesn't necessarily feel like they're ready to work with you, they might share it with a friend or a family member who is. So getting the content out there is very valuable. We also want to talk about where to share your content to drive engagement. I'll give you an example. My sister's on TikTok. She's a little bit older than me, but she has birds. And the other night, we went to her house. We get on TikTok. She's got her birds sitting around her, and she had over 4,000, 5,000 people just watching the birds engage with her. This is not her necessarily selling anything. This is not anything, entirely business related per se, but it's just showing the power of engagement and what people engage with and how they engage these days. If you create something that's interactive, that's engaging, people will come and they will watch it. And this took very little effort, little bit of time, but it's proven to be successful. YouTube is a great way to educate, inspire, and drive interest. Of course, it's all about consistency. You can't create 1 or 2 videos and expect to get amazing results from that. You need to be consistent and continually grinding at it so that you are constantly putting out content and making yourself out there for people to see and learn from. LinkedIn is great. People are posting on LinkedIn all the time. It can seem a little saturated, but what I say is do something different. Don't post like everybody else. Post something that's totally unrelated to business so people get to know you. Maybe you're doing a hobby, or you're out on vacation, or you're doing something fun. Get out there and put yourself out there on a non-business level just to see the kind of interaction you get and engagement you get from it. So it's not always about, I guess it's indirectly about business, but it's really showing, hey, I'm a human being, I run a business, but I want to have fun and do things like everybody else. So getting out there and just being yourself and showing that you're just another person like all of us is powerful to drive engagement with LinkedIn. In fact, some of my best LinkedIn posts and most engaging posts have been me not even talking about business, just talking about life, my ideas, and things I'm doing outside of all that. So think about that. And then you can take all of the content we're talking about, the YouTube, the TikTok, the LinkedIn, all that stuff you're creating, and we can put it into your franchise sales CRM system so you can create a cohesive nurturing strategy for the candidates and people you're working with. So again, you're going to be sending them all this content so they can connect with you, engage with you, learn from you, and find value working with you. I work with a lot of consultants, and I can tell you that what I've learned from those that are really successful, from those that are not as successful, there's just a few. I don't want to call them excuses. I think it's more of a mindset thing. Um, a lot of people are afraid. I'm afraid that it won't work. I'm afraid that I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know how to do it. I'm not like all those other influencers out there. I mean, everybody started with that fear, but the ones that got over it and decided to get out there and do it on a consistent level are the ones that are growing from it. So you've got to put that aside and just get out there and try stuff. Yeah, not everything's going to work. You are going to fail sometimes, but that doesn't matter. It's about continuing to grow, learn from it, and keep putting out stuff consistently. If you don't know how to create content, we can help you. We can make suggestions for you. But the best way to create content is to listen to candidates you're working with or people you're working with and the questions they're asking you. You'll hear some opportunities and questions you hear out there, and you'll think to yourself, that's a good question, and that's a common question. That's something I can create content from. So listen to what you're hearing out there and create content based on those questions you're getting. A lot of times people say, I don't have the time. I don't have the time to manage my social media, manage my LinkedIn. I'm just too busy, right? Well, you got to make the time. So you have to time block your day, pick an hour or two out of your day to commit to content, creating content and nurturing. Maybe you'll hire a VA, which we can offer and help with, or just whatever you've got to do to make the time. Yes, sometimes it's not easy. Sometimes it means getting up an hour earlier or working an hour later or whatever you need to do to block that time to make a consistent effort. Uh, Other people say I'm too distracted with other work. Well, it's about focus, right? Focus on what's important, on what's going to help you get to your goal, cut out all the other distractions, and really just remain focused on the end result. So always remember that the work you're doing and the content you're creating should always be focused on that end result, that end game goal. So top performers, they really don't make excuses. They make the time, they put in the effort, and they remain consistent. It's just like anything else. If you put in time to go to the gym once a day or twice a week or whatever it is, that's consistent. But if you go to the gym twice a year, well, the results probably aren't going to be there. So it's really about making the time, putting in the effort, and again, overall, being consistent. I also want to wrap this up with a quote from Kevin Harrington, original Shark Tank judge. He's actually worked with us in the past. The secret to his success is that he's willing to fail and try new things. He fails faster than anyone else, and as a result, he can iterate and learn faster than them. So I'm not saying that all these ideas are going to produce you massive success, but I'm saying get out there and try it. You might try and you might fail. You might make a few videos that don't hit, but you might get one that really does do well. So you have to continue to tweak, iterate, change things, and just always be willing to fail and learn from the failure to create better later on. So learn from your failures and let that fuel you to teach you to be better on the next attempt. So I can tell you with podcasting, I've done over 130 episodes. The first few were probably terrible from what I remember, but every time I get on and do a new episode, I learn and I learn and I learn. I learn how to ask better questions. I learn how to create better content, better stories. And that has helped me become better at the podcast and generate more people to want to listen to it. So don't be afraid. Just get out there, be okay with failing and trying new things, but learning from your failure and growing and continuing to innovate and always improve. But if you want to know more, you can go to franchisesalescrm.com. That is our IFPG website. You can also contact me, Ryan at ClientTether.com. My phone number is 801-515-3443. You can also text me there if you prefer. But otherwise, that is really all I have. But I want to open up to some questions if anybody has any.
Thank you, Ryan, for that presentation. Um, One question is, outside of social media, what are other methods to create more engagement?
That's a good question. I mean, it's really about it. What's interesting is there's so many tools out there. Like there's people out there creating podcasts, there's influencers. I would say get out there and meet those people, get involved in networking groups and get involved with groups that are creating content that is similar to what, your industry is, and get out there and be on other people's podcasts, tap into their network. Whether it's a virtual live event or it's a physical event you're going to and speaking, or it's getting on a podcast, anywhere you can tap into places that allow you to get your voice and your face out there will help you get more exposure. And that is content that you can reuse later on as you promote yourself further on LinkedIn. So I would say getting involved with as many opportunities outside of social media, like virtual events, live events, groups, podcasts, things like that, can only help you. Yeah.
Thank you, Ryan. It looks like that was the only question for today. Um, Thank you for the presentation. Do you have any closing comments for us?
Yeah, the only thing I would say is if you feel like you're not supported or you need ideas and you want to be more innovative, please reach out to myself or our team. That is what we are here to help you do. So I kind of call myself an idea guy. So if you want to come at me with some questions or some ideas and you want me to kind of brainstorm with you, please reach out to me. I am more than happy to help you with that.
Thank you again to everyone for joining us, and I hope you have a great day.
Thanks.